Welcome, Women of Hawaii members. Thanks for coming to our lunchbox training every Monday well, not every Monday, check the schedule, but Mondays at 12 o'clock. And as always, our trainings are recorded and then available in our members-only training tab on womenuphawaii.com. But it's great that you guys can block out, if you can, the hour to come online and get live interaction, because we always encourage question and answers that sometimes are just priceless. So welcome, and thanks for carving that time out. And I'm going to go right ahead and introduce our trainer for today, that I'm so excited to have her here, and grateful that she was able to block out an hour of her busy schedule to train us members. Kristen Robinson founded KR Design in 2010 to help experienced and determined business owners such as ourselves, real estate agents and consultants, to grow their businesses with successful marketing techniques. Her customers quickly dictated their greatest marketing challenge was, you guessed it, social media. Kristen's guided over 50 business owners through the treacherous waters of social media marketing, affirming that social media can be an effective and efficient method of marketing for companies and business professionals. Kristen's background includes working with a range of companies, including ESPN X Games, House of Blues, Radio Disney, and women's professional football teams. Her experience gives her a unique perspective on many different social media. Her accomplishments include a two-time Hall of Famer in 2011 in track and field for both her college and city of Mesa, Arizona. Kristen was also awarded the National Association of Professional Women's Executive Woman of the Year Award in 2012. Congratulations, Kristen. That's an amazing accomplishment. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Economics for Business and Management. Her certificates include, her certifications include graphic design, web design, search engine marketing, and mobile marketing. And some of her areas of expertise are implementing social media marketing for businesses, such as ours, creative marketing techniques, increasing efficiency by using web-based business applications, and networking and word-of-mouth marketing, which makes all of the difference. And as you can tell, that's why we're so excited to have Kristen here to give us this amazing training. So everyone, welcome Kristen.
Oh, wow. Thanks for having me, Sloan. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Great to have you.
So for those of you who are online, I'm not sure how the conference call line works, but if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the box. So at the end, if you have any questions, I will gladly answer any questions that you guys have. So we're going to get started. So just a little preference of social media puzzle. The reason why it's named that presentation is because a lot of business owners have so many things going on. You guys have your marketing, you have your advertising, we all have our networking that we do, and they're all kind of scattered in jigsaw puzzles, and most of the time when you look at it, it needs to be all together. Like, your social media is supposed to enhance what you already have. So that's why it's called social media puzzle. It's supposed to fit into all your marketing and make a pretty picture and not just puzzle pieces scattered all over the place. So Sloan read a little bit about my bio. The reason why I have all these certifications is it does give me a different perspective on social media. So I look at it quite differently than most social media marketers, in the sense of when you're writing your content or your posts on social media, I look at it as a way of, okay, do you have the right keywords so you can rank on Google? A lot of people don't understand that when you're looking at Facebook on your mobile phone, it is quite different from the desktop version, as you can add different features to get people to call you right from their phone looking at your Facebook business page. So I look at things pretty differently. My experience, as Sloan already told you, I have worked with House of Blues, the X Games in Los Angeles, Long Beach Aftershock, which is a women's professional football team. Humble Casting was actually my mother's casting company in California, in Los Angeles, and I was actually a sports agent. So I've worked with companies with multi-million-dollar budgets, all the way to companies that were just, small businesses, to an independent consultant. Sports agent is commission only. But with all that experience, it really didn't help me start my business. I may have a business degree, but I'm sure you guys all understand that when you have a business, it's really a hands-on type of experience. So I had to find a way to actually market my business when I started in 2010. And what I did was I decided to use social media because networking was great, but I did want to reach a larger audience. And so what I found was social media was really great. It helped me expand my business. And I discovered a really unique system on how to make it work. And when I actually, with all the bumps and bruises and mistakes that I made, I was able to get close to $1 million in business in my first 3 months of doing business. So I found a unique system that works pretty well with a small business. So just to clarify, you're in the right place if you have social media profile set up and you don't know what to do, or you just need more confidence using your social media, or you know that you can expand your reach to get more customers using social media. You want another way of marketing your business, or you want to step ahead of your competition. So if any of those apply to you, you are definitely in the right place. So our objectives for this presentation is we're going to take a tour of the social media landscape. We're going to determine which ones are going to work best for your business. And you definitely go through some of my social media tips, and then I'm also going to tell you how you can take your social media further. So I will definitely try to go a little slower when I get excited about social media. I tend to talk really, really fast. So I'm so glad this is recorded so you guys can all look at this later. What a lot of people don't understand about social media is that it can increase your sales. So I want to bust that myth right out the window. You can increase your sales and use social media to make money. It's not something that you can just be visible on. It's something that actually can bring customers and make you money. On top of that, it can bring you higher quality customers. Sometimes when we're out and about and we're trying to sell our business, we're telling people, but we're telling people that may not be interested. And so we're doing the chasing after people to get customers. Well, in social media, when they're interested, you can get them to come to you. And when they come to you, that makes them a higher quality type of customer because more than likely they are going to buy. Social media is also a great way for you to be the go-to expert. And I'll explain that a little bit later in this presentation, but if you're an independent consultant or a speaker like myself, or you like to do presentations for companies, and you want to be that expert that people look to, social media can do that for you as well. All right, so here's my disclaimer. I'm going to teach you as much as I can during this hour, and obviously I'll ask questions afterwards. So just hold your questions, type them in the box so I can make sure I cover those when I finish the presentation. So the first thing we're going to do is take this thing, what I call a social media tour. So I'm starting off with the basics of Facebook. We all know Facebook is huge. If Facebook were a country, it would be the #3 country in the world. And that's because there's over 1 billion active and monthly users on Facebook. Facebook is huge. At the rate that it's going right now, in the year 2016, it will be the #1 country in the world, surpassing China. So for those of you who are not on Facebook, it's a great place to start. Also, 77% of business-to-consumer businesses acquire customers through Facebook. What that means is if you're a business that markets to like the normal person, then 77% of your types of businesses acquire customers through Facebook. Another statistic, 80% of social media users prefer to connect to you through Facebook. Not Pinterest, not Google+, not Twitter, not LinkedIn, not Tumblr, not the other 2,500 social media networks, Facebook. So 80% of your potential clients that are on Facebook want to connect with you on Facebook. They don't want to connect with you anywhere else. And also, one thing about Facebook is there are 751 million monthly users. What that means is most of Facebook people do not get on their desktop, they get on their mobile devices and use it. So that's why it's very, very key and important that if you're going to be on Facebook, you need to know what the mobile techniques are inside and out, because over 85% of mobile users, they use their mobile phone. Facebook users use their phone. On the other spectrum, if you're business to business, like myself, you do business with other businesses, then LinkedIn is where you need to be. Now, a lot of people get the misconception that LinkedIn is this small network. It's not true. LinkedIn has actually millions of users. Matter of fact, 2 new people join LinkedIn every second. LinkedIn is also good if you have a high-priced item or service, because the average household income of a LinkedIn user is $109,000. So if you do something really, like I said, something luxurious, like for instance you're a realtor that specializes in second homes or investments, it's a great place to be. LinkedIn is obviously 4 times better for business to business than Facebook or Twitter. And the reason that is because it is the business social media network. You talk to other businesses. So Facebook may be really casual, but LinkedIn is serious on the other side of the spectrum. Because of that, people are twice as confident on the information they find on LinkedIn than anywhere else, because the sources are so credible. It's because it's a social media network for businesses, made for businesses. So the information that you find about other industries or businesses is highly more credible than any other social media network. Also, if you're one of those types of people that need to reach really big companies, like maybe Fortune 500 or something like that, 68% of LinkedIn users are decision makers. And actually, all the Fortune 500 CEOs are on LinkedIn. And what that means is it's not their gatekeeper that's on LinkedIn managing their profile. It's actually them managing their profile. So if you need to reach the decision maker, the person who's going to say yes to your product or service, using LinkedIn is a great way to find those people and doing business. So I wanted to take a break really quick and talk and give you an example. So I have a client in North Carolina. Her name is Stephanie Edwards. She's a real estate agent, and she actually specializes in, I love this, she has a very narrow niche. She specializes in second homes for military, for the military. So very narrow niche, probably hard to difficult in a math way. Her marketing has to be very directed. So with Stephanie, what we found is we decided to put her on LinkedIn. And obviously I told you in the previous slide that LinkedIn users make $109,000 a year. So we figured that would be a great place for her. What we did was we combined her great skill of networking with LinkedIn and put her in LinkedIn groups. And what the strategy was for her was to put her in a LinkedIn group with investors, people looking to invest in property all over the United States, and have her make connections with potential customers. So very simple strategy. 2 weeks later, she received a phone call from a real estate agent in Virginia. She had a cash buyer, and that buyer wanted to invest in property in North Carolina. And Stephanie asked this agent, well, why did you call me? There are many real estate agents in this group. It turns out my client Stephanie was the only real estate agent from North Carolina in that group. She represented the whole entire state. So thanks to her great networking skills, but also being savvy on social media, she was able to obtain a cash buyer within 2 weeks of this strategy. So moving on to Twitter. Twitter, I feel like, is the stepchild of all social media networks, but it's very, very helpful and very useful. It's number 3 in social media network with active users, and there's over 500 million users on Twitter. Now, the thing about Twitter is it's all about information and news, which means it's very fast-paced. The average response, just to give you an idea of how fast it works, is if you're on Facebook and you receive a comment, it's actually necessary to get back within 24 hours. If you're on LinkedIn and you send a message to someone, it's kind of customary etiquette to get back within at least 48 hours. On Twitter, the average response time is 4 hours. Very fast-paced compared to Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you want to be on Twitter, it's going to take some very effective time management. But I'm sorry. If you're on the call, if you could mute yourself, because we are recording it, that would be great. But to get back to Twitter, it's a great way to establish yourself as an expert in the industry, because if you give really great information, people follow you on Twitter because they want to know about information and news. That's why they're there. And you receive great prospects, and you get to stand out. Twitter's a very great social media network if you're a speaker or if you want to be the go-to person and stand out. And because it's very fast-paced, being social is really key. So responding back to people who have inquiries, responding to your messages, it does, like I said, it's very fast-paced, a little bit more time-consuming than the others, but the rewards I have found are really great. Actually, Twitter is one of my #1 lead-generating social media networks. Google Plus. So Google Plus is a very interesting social media network. It's actually number 2 on the list. Most of the users are mostly male. Actually, 70% of users on Google Plus are male. It's growing very rapidly, as 625,000 plus people join Google Plus every day. If many of you guys have watched Google, you'll know it's Google's 3rd attempt at a social media network. So this isn't their first rodeo ride. They've done this before, and they've done a lot of research, and they've taken the time, looked at their mistakes, and found something that really has worked very well for them. If you're someone who recruits, for team, network marketing, or if you are someone who is a professional and you're recruiting for your company, Google Plus is a really great social media network to do that, because you find that most of the users on Google Plus are very educated. Most Google Plus users definitely either have a bachelor's or a master's, and obviously some have PhDs. But it's one of the very, how do I say this? It's one of the social media networks that has highly educated people on it. So if you're looking for someone who are people are driven, or you need something technical, or people who are highly intelligent, Google Plus is definitely the place to be. Pinterest. So while Google Plus is mostly male, Pinterest is mostly women. 80% of users are women, and 50% of Pinterest users have children. So if you have a product or a service that goes with children, women, or families, then Pinterest is where you need to be. If you also have a service that's hard to describe in words, or a product that's hard to describe in words, Pinterest is great because it's dependent upon pictures. Pinterest appeals to adults under 50, 25 to 34 is the most popular, obviously women. Pinterest users are also college educated. What I love about Pinterest is used to gather information for buying. And they spend 1 hour and 17 minutes on the site, average in America, to make that buying decision. So one of the things I love about Pinterest is, if that's a social media network that appeals to you, most of the users there are already in the mindset to buy. They're not there just, oh, let me look at plates, oh, let me look at the cute little flowers. They're there to purchase something. They're looking at pictures and actually shopping to make a buying decision. And if they find it on Pinterest, that's great, because they can buy it through Pinterest. Most people don't know that. You can actually buy products through Pinterest. So if you have a service or product, like I said, that targets families, and that's a great place to be, because like I said, they're already in the buying mode for that. So now that I gave you a tour of the social media landscape, let's talk about which ones would be the best for your businesses. So picking the best social media network is hugely important, because you don't want to waste time. Because if the social media network that isn't for your business, you are wasting time. As business owners, our time is limited, so we want to be effective and efficient, so picking the right one is very important. For those of you who decide to spend money on social media, you want to get the most out of your marketing dollars and time. One thing I always say about social media is, yeah, it's free, but the time you spend on it is not. So you need to get the most out of your marketing dollars and the time opportunity that is given to you, because the time you spend on social media could be spent getting clients or doing something else. So that's why it's really important for you to pick the right social media network. You also want high-quality customers. What good is it if you're on a social media network and your customers are not there? And that just leads to frustration and missing out on potential opportunities such as clients, partnerships, things of that nature. So, but the bottom line is, what is it that you want out of social media? What do you want it to do for you? And I think this is where a lot of business owners and professionals get stuck, is what do you want it to do for you? So if you want to get sales and leads, that's great. If you want to be more visible, that's fine. If you want just to stand out, to know people, to let people know what you do, great. If you want to give out great information and be the go-to resource, perfect. But you need to decide which one of those, what is it that you want social media to do for you? Because that is going to be huge in picking which social media network is right for you. So picking the best social media network for you, you have to figure it out by looking at your clients. Which social media network fits best? So if you're, like we just talked about Pinterest, if most of your clients you find are women, you probably want to be on Pinterest. If you find that most of your clients are under the age of 25, Twitter is going to work well for you. If you find that most of your clients are intelligent, they have masters and PhDs, or just even bachelors, then Google Plus is probably where you need to be. But the best way to do it is look at your clients. Now, some of us can track that information and some of us cannot. So if you cannot track that type of information, my best advice to you is to draw an avatar. What I mean by that is I want you to get out a blank piece of paper from your printer, and I want you to draw a little stick figure of your ideal client. What do they look like? Is it a woman? Is it a male? If it's a male or a woman, are they married? Do they have children? Do they have a dog? Do they live in a house? Do they have a lawn? Is it a condo? Is there a suitcase full of money next to the guy? I mean, draw it out as best as you can, because that is going to help you narrow your niche and be more successful in picking which social media networks are right for you. Also, another piece of advice is you want to pick 1 to 2 social media networks to be on. 3 if you're really technically savvy. And the reason is it's better to master 2 or 3 social media networks than to be on 8 and spraying and praying. Basically spraying social media and hoping that something sticks. Also, what type of business do you have? Are you business to business, where you do business with other businesses? Or are you business to consumer, where you market to the normal average person? Some of us are lucky that we can do both. So you have to look at what type of business do you have. Are you in that lucky category that can do both, or do you market to the average person, or do you just talk to businesses and hope and get them to buy your products or services? You also need to look at your time. As business owners, we do not have a lot of time, and I understand that. But you need to look at how much time you can invest into your social media marketing. Like any other part of your business, you do need to invest some time into it. It's just a matter of how much time. Now, obviously, if you have maybe 2 hours a week to spend, I'm not going to recommend Twitter. It's very fast-paced. It's not going to work in your schedule. But if you have, like going back to the 3-hour week example, LinkedIn might work really, really well for you because it's very slow-paced. So how much time do you want to invest? Also, what is your marketing budget? A lot of people don't look at this, but marketing, there are advertising opportunities available. And it's not as big as you think. You can actually run ads on Facebook with as little as $25 over a week period. So that is a great way to do it. Twitter tends to be a little bit more expensive when you're doing advertising. Google Plus obviously is definitely expensive because it is Google. So you need to look at your marketing budget. If you do want to take that advanced step and do advertising, how much is in your budget to use for social media marketing? Another thing is, how much are you willing to share on social media? The key to social media is being social. You have to be social. So how much of yourself are you willing to share on social media? And that goes back to social media. You do have to be authentic and genuine, but you don't have to tell the whole world about yourself if you don't want to. So if you're one of those people that you want to hide behind your computer screen, which is completely fine, then LinkedIn is great for you because you're only putting out your professional self. If you want to share a little bit more of yourself, then Facebook and Pinterest are great. If you don't care how people look at you, you are what you are, business and social, then Twitter's great because we want you to be all of you all the time. So how much of yourself are you willing to share? So I want to give an example of kind of going back to the social media. So this is one of my clients, Brian Kennedy. He's actually a business coach. And you would think, being a business coach, LinkedIn is the perfect place for him to be. It is. If you think about it, he's a business coach, so he does business with other businesses. But going back to his goal, he wanted to be a speaker. And so after much arguing, I told him he needs to be on Twitter. Because if he wants to be a speaker, he needs to stand out, and he needs to be that go-to expert. So he decided to try it. So within 2 weeks, Brian came to me very excited. And I couldn't figure it out because he was talking all too fast. I couldn't get it. But basically the gist of it was he was on Twitter, and somebody very highly influential started following him. On Twitter, people follow you. What happened was the posts or tweets on Twitter that my client was putting out there, this influential person decided to let all of his among thousands of followers know what my client was doing. So any information, any business tips, over 10,000 people knew about it, almost to the instant that it was put out on Twitter. And what ended up happening was, out of those tens of thousands of people, he obviously got inquiries of speaking engagements and actually landed 3 speaking engagements within 2 weeks. And that's because the power of Twitter is very viral. But the thing about Twitter, like I said, is it's very easy to stand out and be the go-to expert. It does require time. But that goes back to the goal that we talked about in the previous slide. What is the goal that you have for your social media? For Brian, it was to be the go-to expert and to be a speaker, even though he is a business coach. Now, social media logic would tell you LinkedIn is perfect because that was his goal and that's what he had in mind. Twitter was actually the right choice for him. All right, so if you didn't take notes already, this is where you get your pen and paper out because I'm going to go through some social media tips that'll really, really help you right now. So if you have a social media profile, here are some tips that I think will probably help you out. So unfortunately, the key to social media is being social. And being social, you have to think about the conversation. So unfortunately, keep it short, okay? Especially on Facebook, you want to post between 100 to 250 characters. Hate to say it, we want to have a long time span, 100 to 250 characters. You have to be visual. You want to post photos and videos if you can. A lot of people don't understand there are over 300 million photos posted to Facebook every day. Doesn't that tell you something? It tells you that most people on Facebook like photos. So you want to be visual and post photos and videos to shake up some variation. Also, share information and be a resource. Sharing information is great because you don't always have to keep creating content all the time. If you're sharing information, that alleviates some of the pressure for you of staring at your computer screen and wondering, what am I going to post? Sharing information is great. Also, if you're being a resource, even though it is other people's information you're sharing, you look like a rock star because it looks like you are on top of almost everything, even though you're sharing someone else's information. So it makes you look great and gives you great visibility when you share information and be a resource. You need to post daily and frequently, and the key word is also consistently if you can. And the reason why you want to post daily and frequently is there was a study shown that only 96% of Facebook fans do not go back to the Facebook page after initial engagement. What that means is you post something on your Facebook business page, and after they like, comment, whatever it is, they do not come back to your Facebook page. They're done. They've done their commitment. They liked it and shared it. They commented. They're done. So obviously, to keep people coming back, you have to bring out new content, and you have to post daily and frequently. You also want to be relevant. If you're a photographer, I'm on your Facebook page to look at your beautiful pictures. I'm not there to learn about icebergs or to learn about camera focus. I don't care. I'm on your Facebook page to look at your photos and see what you're doing. So be relevant. Talk about your product or service or subjects that are closely related to that. Because you want to be relevant. People are on your page for a reason to like certain things or want certain information about things. So you want to be very closely tied to what your product or service is. Also, be timely. A lot of people don't understand that there are peak times when people look at your social media profile. And believe it or not, each profile is different to each time. So what I found for me is because my company is national, I found that 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time work the best. 9 a.m. because on the East Coast, that's where I can get some of the people in overseas and also at the East Coast. 3 p.m. is great because it's obviously 9 a.m. here in Hawaii. It's 12 p.m. lunchtime on Pacific, and it's sort of when the kids get out on the East Coast. So for me, those are the best times to post on Facebook and especially Twitter. LinkedIn, believe it or not, the best time for me to post is 12 o'clock Eastern time. That's when people are on lunch on East Coast, and it's the morning on the Pacific Coast. And believe it or not, 6 a.m. here in Hawaii gets a lot of business owners up because they're up before the normal day. So each social media network is going to be different, and each time is going to be different for each person. So you want to try different times to see what works best. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about engagement. Now, I love this quote from Mari Smith. She says, "Content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house." What that means is that's great that you're putting posts and things on your social media, but it doesn't mean anything if no one's engaging with it. And when I say engagement, I mean the likes, shares, retweets, all those things that give a response. So You can put out the most wonderful, beautiful content out there, but it doesn't mean anything if it's a secret. So engagement is huge and it's key. So a great part when you're doing your content or what you're posting is to ask for what you want. That's what I call it. And you can use that with opinion-driven questions or fill in the blank. And what I mean by opinion-driven is, it's Monday. I always have the blog. How do you get over Monday? Please comment below. Very simple, because you're asking people their opinion. And we all know that when you ask for my opinion, I love giving it to you. So opinion-driven questions are great. Fill in the blanks are wonderful too. So going back to that same example, it's Monday. I have the Monday blog. I get over Mondays by blank and literally writing a blank and putting please comment below on how you get by on Mondays. Fill in the blanks are great because people love to be asked their opinion, but it's also a great way to fill in the blank and get engagement on your page. Call to action. I can't tell you how important that people leave this out. You have to tell people what to do. You have to. As intuitive as it is to you because you're posting it, you have to tell people to like, comment, share, retweet, whatever it may be. You have to tell them to do that. Dan Zarella is actually a social media scientist, and he found that there's a 60% engagement when you actually use the words like, retweet, share in the actual post. Meaning that if you have a call to action and telling people what to do, 60% of the time they're going to do it. So you need to have a call to action when you post on social media. If you don't know what to post, ask your clients. Your clients are always a great source of content because they'll tell you what they want to know. And the best part is, I'm sure all of us have this where we're out and about and we get the same questions all the time. It doesn't matter how long we've been in business. It doesn't matter how short we've been in business. It doesn't matter if we're talking to a person we talked to 3 weeks ago. We get the same questions all the time. If you get all of those questions, that means you have found a hole that is lacking in your industry. So those are the things you need to post about. So think about the questions that you get hammered with all the time and use those for your social media posts. Also, you want to track your engaging posts by type. Obviously, photos and videos are going to be the most popular, but sometimes text is really important too, text with links. So look at your most engaging posts by type, if it's photos, videos, etc., and see exactly what it is that your clients, that your fans love, or your people who follow you love. Because obviously you want to give a little bit more of that to them because that's what they engage by. So I want to take a time out to help you kind of put it all together with this case study. One of my clients, Veronica. So Veronica actually is a jewelry artist. She makes handmade clay beads. And even though she markets to the normal consumer, we found that Facebook was a really great place for her. What we found was, for her, the post type was photos, which makes sense because she creates jewelry and people want to see what she's creating. Well, by tracking the post type that was photos, she tried to do something a little different. So what she did was, usually during the week she makes obviously different kinds of pieces, and she decided to post a photo where you could kind of see what she was creating. Just enough for you to tell if it was earrings, necklace, a bracelet, but also not enough for you to tell, exactly, what it looked like. So she posted that, and then a couple hours later, she posted the whole thing, basically the whole piece of what she had created. And when she tried this experiment the first time, she actually sold that product off of Facebook. And she was very excited about it. So she's like, I wonder what happens if I do this, on a more consistent, frequent basis. So now she does this at least 3 times a week, and every time it is sold. The best part about it is that because that's the type of post that her fans on Facebook engage with, they share it all over Facebook. So not only does she attract new fans on Facebook, but now she attracts new buyers because it's people who are interested. They're coming back to her page and looking at what she's doing. And the best part is that has led to increase of sales. So she posts a very simple photo of, sneak peek of what I'm creating. It goes viral. People come back to her page. Not only is that product sold that she just created, but products similar to that category are sold as well. And that's what gives her the sales through Facebook. So that's just a quick quick little thing about how that works with Veronica and how maybe some of you can use some of those great tips for your business. So really quickly, I want to show you my system, and this is how you can take your social media further with just a little bit of what I've talked about. So I told you I created a system for this, and so I wanted to actually show you my system and how it works. So my first system, I call it the STEP system. The STEPS is an acronym, and the S stands for Search for the Best Social Media Networks. So that's kind of what we've talked about, is looking for the best social media networks, but you also need to develop a client profile for your business. You need to go more in depth, kind of like when we talked about the avatar. You also need to solidify your products and services and what you want to offer.
On the table.
I'm sorry, can you mute yourself? And you also want to figure out, where do your clients hang out at? So what good is a social media network if you don't know where your clients hang out at? The T stands for training. So now that you found out what your best social media network is, you need to be trained on it. So you need to figure out exactly how it works. Now that you found it, you need to figure out how it works. So you need to get the training and the tools to get the right job done, and so you can add social media to your marketing toolbox. You're also going to need to learn advanced techniques, because as you grow in training, the beginning ones are great and you got those down, but you need to be more advanced in what you do so you can start mastering your social media networks. And when you start being trained, you learn to be effective and efficient and learn how to integrate that within your normal day so that social media is not such a time sucker. Your E, you need to execute your social media strategy. What good is it if you don't know where you're going? So you need a strategy and you need a plan, because and part of that is having a goal in mind. So once you have your social media strategy and your plan, you're able to execute flawlessly what you want to do. So obviously, we've talked about searching for the best ones. You got training. Now you have a plan to go with your training. The P stands for planning and implementing. So now that you got your strategy, you got the training, now it's a matter of, how do I make this all work and put it together? So sometimes I recommend for people to have a social media calendar, but the planning is really to integrate it with your current marketing plan. So basically looking at your marketing and figuring out, okay, how can social media plug into this with what I'm already doing? And once you have a plan and a strategy, you obviously have confidence because you know exactly what you're doing. Also, because you have that confidence, you know how it's going to fit and how your day is going to work. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, it's 6 p.m., I didn't post anything. You have a plan in place. You have a strategy. So all this fits together at this point when you have the planning implemented. After that, it's just a matter of rinse and repeat, and it's success. You can enjoy it because you've now created a social media system for your business. At this point, you should be seeing definitely increased sales and income and visibility. And my favorite part is squashing your competition. So all of those things work really, really great when you have that type of system in place, and that's the system that I've found works really great with businesses that want to use social media. So I wanted to really quick talk about that I do have classes coming up with that exact same formula. So it's 6 classes that will be coming up very soon. And so if you have social media profiles but you're not sure what you're going to do next, or if you have a social media presence but you're not getting the results you want, or you want to stand out and be the go-to expert, then this is probably where you need to be. Actually, this is where you need to be. So the classes start August 7th. There are actually going to be 6 live in-person sessions in Honolulu. They're going to be Wednesday nights from 6 to 8. And registration is only limited to 12 participants. So I already have 5 slots filled, so I'm only looking for 7 more slots to be filled. So if you feel that this is where you want to be and you want to start stepping ahead of your competition and standing out, then you definitely want to go to the link below and sign up for the classes. So that is it for my presentation, and I'll really quickly put the link in here for the classes. Does anybody have any questions on what my presentation is?
Kristen, hi, it's Sloan.
Uh-huh.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so you were talking about Facebook and how like everybody prefers it. Can you tell me, like, why do you think most people use Facebook? Is it because, like, it was the first out, or is it more user-friendly, or, like, what are your thoughts on that?
The reason why is because it's just the most popular social media network. Everybody is on it. Actually, believe it or not, do you know what the fastest growing demographic of Facebook is?
What?
It's 55 to 65.
What?
Those are the people that are jumping on Facebook. You want to know why they're jumping on Facebook? Because their children and their grandkids are on Facebook. They don't communicate with phone anymore. If you want to reach your grandkid or your child, more than likely, you have to jump on Facebook.
That is so true.
Exactly. So that is why it's one of the most popular social media networks, is because, unfortunately, it's the sheer numbers of it. It's, you know, and I hate to say it, it's like a party. You know, when you're getting ready to go to a party and there's like 4 people at the party, you really don't want to stay at that party long. You leave. But if you go to a party and the lights are going and the music's pumping and there's 100 people in the party, you're going to stay. So that's what Facebook is. Facebook is the great party right now. The music's spinning, the lights are going, everybody wants to stay, and everybody wants to be there and wants to be invited. So that's why Facebook is by far definitely is the most popular social media network, and that's why everyone's drawn to it.
Okay, I've got more questions, but I'm going to see if anybody else does, or if you want to take some that people wrote about.
Yep, I have a question. Someone actually asked, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your first name, but she asked, have you heard of Vine, and what do you think about it? Yes, I have heard of Vine, and honestly, what do I think about it? I'm really not sure what my thoughts are, because Instagram just came out with their rival video on how to beat Vine. So my industry right now, we're just kind of sitting back with popcorn and kind of watching, seeing how this is going to work out before we start recommending or training people on Vine and Instagram. But I know Vine is great, especially for video, and it's, you know, very closely related to Twitter. But the problem is Instagram's very related close to Facebook, and with the sheer number of 1 billion people on Facebook, Instagram looks like it might crush Vine. But like I said, we're not sure. We're just going to see how this plays out as far as which one is the better one for businesses and which one has the better reach. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
One more. Yeah, okay, so when you're looking at all these different, thank you, first of all, for, like, explaining the demographics behind all the different social media outlets that we can use, because my brain just started going, like, 100 miles per hour, and I definitely am, like, okay, cutting my time in half of what I'm doing where, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that was huge, thank you. And then I'm wondering what your thoughts are on things like Hootsuite, and this might be advanced, I don't know, but, you know, places that will blast out your one message over the different channels, or connecting your Facebook with your Twitter, which is something that I've been doing. Is that, now I'm kind of thinking, like, maybe that's wrong, like my tweet should be tweet specific, and then my Facebook post should be kind of Facebook specific. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and well, that's why I call myself a social media ambassador, because each social media network is like a different country. They have their own language, they have their own customs, they have their own people. And so when people, and don't get me wrong, I cringe sometimes, but when people do that, like you said, they post to the Twitter, to their Facebook, it looks a little awkward, because you're on Facebook and you're like, what? Because not a lot of, it's weird. You would think most people are on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever. A lot of people don't do the cross-platforming like you think. At least normal, when I say people, I mean consumers, like your clients for B2C. They don't do a lot of the cross part. If they do, it's going to be like ones like, you know, Pinterest that apply to their demographic. So when you're doing that, if you're doing cross promotion, kind of watch where you're promoting, like spraying it to which social media networks. Because either Facebook to Pinterest or Pinterest to Facebook, those are like demographics, so that's okay. But Twitter to Facebook is not the same demographic. They're not really related. It's almost like, I can't describe it. It's almost like, you know, British and, you know, Britain and America, we speak English. but, America and Mexico, we don't speak the same language and it's totally different people. That's kind of how it works. So you want to be a little careful about that. Now, Hootsuite is my number one, by far, favorite tool ever. I recommend it to all of my customers and all my clients. For those of you who don't know Hootsuite, it's HOOTSUITE. There's a free version and a paid version, and the free version you do up to 5 social media networks at one time. And honestly, that is the best thing ever because it's web-based. You can see all of your stuff at one time. And you know what? It's okay to automate your social media and schedule it in advance. I do it. A lot of my clients do it. The thing is, people can't tell if it's automated or not because it comes out when you schedule it when you want to. The key is, if you're going to automate your social media, is when you respond. So if you're automating, obviously, and you don't check it till about 9 o'clock at night and someone retweeted your post at like 12, that could be a problem because it shows that you're really not on Twitter like you should be. Or, if you posted something to Facebook and did a comment or whatever, it's a little different. So you have to really look at scheduling your day of when are you going to respond. I tell people you're using Hootsuite and you're using Twitter, make sure you have the mobile app so you can check it pretty frequently. Because Facebook and LinkedIn don't have that same response time, you can pretty much automate whatever you need to automate. So Hootsuite is great. There's no wrong way of automating your social media content.
Perfect. That's so good to know. Anybody else have any questions? I unmuted everyone. This is Sloan. Hi, you guys. I unmuted everyone, so you're not muted by me. And if you wanted to ask a question, if you muted yourself on your cell phone or wherever you are, go ahead and just unmute it, and then you guys can just ask whatever you want to ask. Or if you're shy and you don't want to ask questions, I can keep on asking questions. No, okay. Well, I don't want to keep up any more of Kristen's time, and so you guys. First of all, Kristen, thank you so much for coming on again. I've learned so much. I definitely took notes, and then this will be up on member training. And I had asked Kristen, like, how long do you think, we should keep this up? Usually our recordings stay up forever, or for a year, or whatever it is. And I thought her advice was great. And she said, you might want to just keep it up for the next, what did you say, like so many months or something?
Probably the next 6 months and, 6 months. And the reason I'm kind of cringing at the 6 months is some of you guys don't know, but Facebook just announced last night that they are rolling out Facebook Graph Search for businesses. And that's going to change everything.
Wow. So, goosebumps. Okay, yeah. So we'll just keep updated, and it'll be in the back until it becomes not relevant, because I think that's what technology is, and we have to keep up with our time. So once I'll give Kristen a call and be like, I think is it time to take it down? Kaylee says this was very helpful, and she's looking forward to the classes. So you guys go to, Kristen's a member of Woman Up. We're very excited to have her as a member, and stoked that she came on and gave us this time. Go to Woman Up Hawaii, add her as a friend, like her profile. Hopefully she'll be at our event coming up, which you guys watch out for your inboxes, because that information is coming to you, and it's going to be coming fast. July 19th, 5 to 9 p.m. Hopefully she's there and you guys can connect in person. But I want to let Kristen go and let you guys all go, and just thank you so much again for being here. Go to KristenRDesigns.com. Check out her blog. Follow her. She's amazing. Thank you, ladies. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Kristen, you're a rock star. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop recording here.